Euclidean Geometry. Before we will go further, I will give you first a brief overview about the history of Euclid geometry. So the excavations at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro depict the extremely well-planned towns of Indus Valley civilization about 3,300 to 1,300 BC. The flawless construction of pyramids by the Egyptians is yet another example of extensive use of geometrical techniques used by the people back then. In India, the Sulba Sutras textbooks on geometry depict that the Indian Vedic period had a tradition of geometry. So the development of geometry was taking place gradually when Euclid, a teacher of mathematics at Alexandria in Egypt, collected most of these evolutions in geometry and compiled it into his famous treatise, which he named Elements. So, what is Euclidean geometry? A Euclidean geometry is considered an axiomatic system where all the theorems are derived from a small number of simple axioms. Since the term geometry deals with things like points, lines, angles, squares, triangles, and other shapes, Euclidean geometry is also known as plane geometry. It deals with properties and relationships between all things. So, Euclidean geometry, it is the study of geometrical shapes, the plane and the solid, and figures based on different axioms and theorems. It is basically introduced for flat surfaces or plane surfaces. The plane geometry are the congruence of triangles, similarities of triangles, areas, Pythagorean theorem, circles, regular polygons, and the conic sections. And the solid geometry are the volume and the regular solids. The examples of Euclidean geometry. The common examples of Euclidean geometry are the angles and circles. Angles are said as the inclination of two straight lines, and the circle is a plane figure that has all the points at a constant distance called the radius from the center. Then, the Euclidean and non-Euclidean geometry. There is a difference between Euclidean and non-Euclidean geometry in the nature of parallel lines. In Euclidean geometry, for the given point in line, there is exactly a single line that passes through the given points in the same plane and it never intersects. The properties of Euclidean geometry. First, it is the study of plane geometry and solid geometry. It defined point, line, and a plane. A solid has shape, size, position, and can be moved from one place to another. The interior angles of the triangle add up to 180 degrees. Two parallel lines never cross each other, and the last one is the shortest distance between 2 points is always a straight line. The elements in Euclidean geometry. In Euclidean geometry, Euclid's Elements is a mathematical and geometrical work consisting of 13 books written by ancient Greek mathematician Euclid in Alexandria, Ptolemaic Egypt. Further, the Elements was divided into 13 books that popularized geometry all over the world. As a whole, these Elements is a collection of definition postulates or the axioms, propositions, the theorems and constructions, and mathematical proofs of the propositions. So, what were Euclidean axioms? Here are the 7 axioms are given by Euclid for geometry. First, things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. Second, if equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. Number 3, if equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are equal. Number 4, things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. Number 5, the whole is greater than the part, and things which are double of the same things are equal to one another. Then the last one, things which are halves of the same things are equal to one another. So, what were the Euclid's 5 postulates? Before discussing, we were going to discuss the postulates in Euclidean geometry. Let us discuss a few terms as listed by Euclid in his book 1 of the Elements. The postulated statements of these are: first, assume that 3 steps from solids to point a solid surface lines points. In each step, one dimension is lost. Then, a solid has 3 dimensions, the surface has 2, the line has 1, and the point is dimensionless. And then, a point is anything that has no part. A breadthless length is a line and the ends of line point. The last one, a surface is something that has length and breadth on it. So, these are the 5 postulates of Euclid's. The first Euclid's postulate is: a straight line can be drawn from any point to another point. Euclid's postulate 2, a terminated line can be further produced indefinitely. Euclid's postulate 3, a circle can be drawn with any center and any radius. The Euclid's postulate 4, all right angles are equal to one another. And Euclid's postulate 5, if a straight line falling on 2 other straight lines makes the interior angles on the same side of it taken together less than 2 right angles, then the 2 straight lines, if produced indefinitely, meet on the side on which the sum of angles is less than 2 right angles.